Hola, ¿qué tal? Bienvenidos nuevamente a nuestro canal de YouTube. Y el día de hoy vamos a hacer un proyecto súper interesante con nuestra Ford Bronco, al cual le vamos a cambiar todo el kit completo de suspensión. Vamos a cambiar algunos componentes necesarios para que todo funcione correctamente. Hoy nos acompaña Keegan y nos va a ayudar a todo el desenvolvimiento de este proyecto.
Hi guys, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I'm going to give you a quick explanation of what we have on the table here. So we have a full kit at this point on the table. So we have upper and lower trailing arms, we have the upper front control arms, we have a sway bar drop kit and a diff drop kit, and then we have obviously the 4 shock absorbers. But what's special about these shock absorbers is that they come with a MRR reservoir, so it is the top of the top, which is fantastic for this car. So as factory from standard from factory, this is going to be we get a lift height of 75 mil, and then it's going to be a seat height of 78 mil, which is going to give, which is the best, most comfortable.
Ok, chicos, vamos a empezar por explicarles realmente qué es lo que queremos con el carro. Lo primero es que vamos a buscar mayor dureza, mayor desenvolvimiento. En el tiempo que tenemos manejando el carro hemos notado que tiene un poco de cabineo en la parte trasera y a continuación se le va a agregar mucho más peso. Se va a montar un rooftop tent o una tienda de campaña atrás junto con un rack de techo, y eso evidentemente nos va a generar mayor cabineo. Entonces, ¿cuál es la solución real para corregirlo? Básicamente es usando los MRR Upside Down de Dobinsons, donde son ajustables tanto en compresión como en rebote. Y les vamos a mostrar un poco. Como ven, el cuerpo del amortiguador va de arriba hacia abajo, y adicional tienen una precarga o un preload que te permite configurar la dureza del espiral antes de cargarle el peso a la camioneta. Lo mismo ocurre en la parte trasera. Vamos a igual a configurar un coilover completo con el upside down, donde vamos a configurar el preload, y que igual nos va a permitir ser ajustables tanto en compresión como en rebote y poder eliminar el cabineo que estamos obteniendo. Luego, ¿qué va a pasar? Nos vamos a ir a los componentes de suspensión. En muchos videos anteriores yo les he comentado que cuando tú montas un kit de suspensión no son solamente cambiar los espirales y los amortiguadores, sino que tienes que trabajar con toda la línea de los componentes que te ayudan a que toda la geometría de la suspensión funcione correctamente. Entonces, como nos vamos a una altura bien alta, nos vamos a tratar de buscar entre 3 y 3.5 pulgadas en la medida hop to work. Vamos a requerir unos hopper control arm. En este caso vamos a usar los de aluminio, que son ajustables en caster y en camber. También vamos a requerir unas extensiones del sway bar delantero. Este caso es el Bronco Base, por ende no tiene el sway bar electrónico, sino que va a ser un drop en el sway bar para que nos permita mayor articulación. También vamos a tratar de que los ejes queden lo más derecho posible, y parte de eso es súper importante. Esta pieza, aunque se vea bien sencilla, esto lo que hace es bajar el diferencial y hacer que los ejes trabajen mucho más derecho. ¿Okay? En la parte trasera queremos buscar mucha mayor articulación. Vamos a usar los lower trailing arms, por ende vamos a darle un poco más de distancia de recorrido para volver a centrar el eje, y a la vez vamos a ajustar y lo que nos ayuda con estos bujes es que dé mucha más articulación al vehículo. Y en la parte trasera, pero en los brazos de arriba o en los upper trailing arms, también, como pueden ver, tienen un ángulo para que no peguen en el tanque de gasolina, pero también nos otorguen mucha más articulación. Básicamente, chicos, estos son todos los componentes necesarios para que el Bronco se maneje de la manera ideal, para que le puedas dar lo más duro que puedas correr en gravilla, puedas correr en la carretera y el manejo sea excepcional. Entonces, vamos a irle presentando todo este kit de suspensión, los vamos a ir instalando en la camioneta y les vamos a enseñar toda la experiencia de cómo funciona.
All right, so starting on the right-hand side here for the shock absorber and the whole kit, we're going to loosen a few things. Always be careful of the ABS line here, so we're going to firstly take that out so there's no chance of damaging that. A few tools we're going to use is we're going to use a 36 socket for this to get that out. Don't worry, I already loosened that. We're going to use a 21 there, a 21 for the terminal, and then it's 18 for the bottom of the shock absorber on this particular shock absorber, and then Ford comes standard, I think, with a factory 15 nut on the screw cap. I've already loosened the links over here, so we can just have a bit more play for when we try and get the shock absorber out. And that's basically what we're going to be working with in this area. So we're going to loosen up this. We're going to take out this bad boy over here, and yeah, let's dig into it. So firstly, I'm going to take out the ABS line, which is the most critical because it's so sensitive. So for that, we'll need a 8 socket. It's not very tight, but it is very delicate. So always be careful when taking that out. The nut is very, very, very tiny. So there it is right there. And always be as organized as possible when doing this. Let's take this bad boy out here. Give it a little wiggle and take it out as straight as possible. And you'll see it comes out just like that. Perfect stuff. Yes, okay, let's take off this. The reason we take this nut off is so we can push this back out of the socket, and it'll give us a bit more working room for when we have to push the lower control arm down. So that's the only reason. So make sure it's loose. If it's a bit stuck, you just get a hammer and a chisel. You see there's a little hole there, and you just hit it over there. No big deal. Right, next is I'm going to loosen this bad boy over here. There we go. All right. For this, we're going to use a 21. I wish I had a 21 ratchet, but I don't. Yet to buy one. Very important, this has a tension on it, this has a load, so don't loosen it all the way. I'm sure, as most of you do know, the way to take it off is by hitting it slightly hard and loosening that tension right there, like so. A little trick is just to see how loose that is. A little trick I use to just blow it a little bit and get it to a point where it's loosen it with the fingers, but don't take it off just yet. We still have to do one more little thing. All right. Please, it is super essential. We have a base here which holds our ABS and our brake line. Sometimes when we loosen this falls to the side. Recommended to remove it if you're worried about that. I'm going to remove it, but not essential. So it is a 12. Let me just put my 12 over here. A 12 socket. Oh, 12 or a 10? A 10. I apologize. And also not very tight. Alright, there we go. That's loose over there. Just gives you a little bit more safety on those lines there. Alright, so we're here, we have that load down there now. We can loosen that. Always be careful when releasing this, please. It's very, 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 very dangerous. Don't want to get your finger caught on anything like I'm going to do now. And you see it goes to the side there. Don't worry, it's got the ball joint at the bottom here to hold everything in place. And again, this is the reason we have that loose, so we don't pull out that axle. There we go, just check everything. It's nice and loose, it's cool, it's good there. Perfect stuff. Finally, all right, finally we have the link, which is holding this knuckle to the side here. So once we release that, all the weight will be loading onto the bottom here. So let's go ahead and loosen that up. Again, leave a little bit, and then give it another tap. Now we have all that working room right there. It's perfect. We have our axle out. Gives a bit more room to go down. And don't lose the nut for the terminal. Alright, we have our terminal over there. Not gonna loosen that. Right. I think a better solution for us now is to take this out completely in one go before we even take, in this case, because we are changing the upper control arm and we're changing the suspension completely. This comes with this kit, so in normal cases I wouldn't take this out. I would maybe just loosen this to push it up a bit to give you a bit more working room. But in our case, we're going to take this out completely because we have the Dobinson one there on the table. So let's get that out. I think we have a 21 on this side. It's 21 on this side. And 22. So we're going to take out this long bolt over here. Alright, be careful, don't pinch your fingers. And that's there. Perfect. This is our old upper control arm. So just something just to help you with when taking out the shock absorber. I normally leave one nut on top here, left just before finger tight. And this just is a support just so you can manage loosening everything a bit better. And then I leave that in there and I loosen the bottom completely, and then afterwards I loosen this one last. Very last. One side for now. Just lower this just a little bit. Alright, perfect. So this comes preloaded, everything comes assembled, but from factory now I'm just having a look at this. I saw this was a bit loose, so I tightened this up just to make sure it was set, because you don't want to install it with this loose. So always just be aware to tighten this bolt. And at the bottom here, so if it doesn't line up, if this eye is skew or to the other side, this is adjustable, so you can line it up very well and fit everything very perfectly. So I'm just going to give you a quick tip on the upper control arms quickly, just to give you a bit of information on the assembly process and just to help you with that. So this upper control arm from Dobinson uses the original ball joint from the Bronco, so make sure you don't throw that away. Very important. It does come in the box with the tools needed to take out and put in this ball joint. So this is for the bottom and this is for the top. We'll have a different video for that if need be later. As well, you're going to need a vernier to measure, because coming into how to adjust this is a baseline of 35 millimeters. So we're going to put a baseline here, the basic over here on the border over here, and the border of the eye over here, and you're going to measure 35 mil exactly, and it'll be the same for the other side with the bushings facing on the inside. So the shock absorber is, like we said earlier, the best of the best. It comes preloaded with the seats already adjusted, but in case you have different settings, for example, if you have a bumper like this car and you want to put a rack or any kind of heavy equipment onto your car, we are able to adjust this shock absorber, so no need to change the shock absorber, just adjust the shock absorber by using this seat right here. So it's preloaded already, but you can make it have a heavier tension, or by loosening this, loosening or tightening this at the strut cap. And yes, so on this shock absorber as well, we have this base for the nuts, for the actual bolt to be attached to the lower control arm. But something a little different about this is this one actually has a thread inside the eye here, so it is adjustable. So just make sure that it's equal on both sides, and if necessary, adjust according to your lower control arm. But yes, make sure this is tight, comes with the washers and all the necessary nuts and bolts. It doesn't take a lot of compression because what we're actually adjusting is the larger side of the spring. But there we go, we're free. So now it comes a little bit of a tricky part. So we're gonna get the Allen key one here. Perfect stuff. We're gonna loosen that up. There we go. Don't make it too loose, but don't leave it too tight as well. You're able to do it. So this client would like us to put the seating at 106 millimeters, which is the max. What we're going to do is we're going to measure from the bottom of the seat over here, to the top of the strut cap. A little bit long, so I'm just going to adjust it a little bit higher. Very, very important as well. So just a little tip here. So don't measure on the side because this obviously tilts. So try and measure it true to the bolt over here, to the bottom here. This is your point here. We have just a little bit of a fun fact. We have different lift heights for the seat. So we have 50, 50, 75, 75. So in total, we have 85 as a minimum preload. That I'm assuming that's how it comes factory. And we have 92, 99, and 106. Our client is asking for 106 with an accessory load of 100 to 150 kilos extra, because he has actually got a bumper and some other accessories that make the car a little bit heavier. So naturally, this will just help with the suspension and riding and so on and so forth. All right, that's the preload set correctly. Let's tighten that bad boy up again. Make sure it's very tight because you don't want it to come loose while driving. There we go. Perfect stuff. And let's put that. Cool. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave it in the comments and we'll try and get back to you as soon as we can about it. But yes, it's pretty straightforward. This customer already has a lower trailing arm of Dobinsons, so we won't be installing it from this kit, but yes, you can see how it's installed there. So just an interesting fact, always put this plate to the front. If you put it backwards, it hooks onto anything and anything at the bottom of the axle over there. Always put this to the front. Cool. So we'll be replacing the upper control arm here. I see that's the factory, so we'll be demonstrating that. But yeah, and he also has a Dobinson and hotbar. I think just to work a bit easier, we're going to take off or just loosen up the lining of the wheel arch here. So once you've taken out all the necessary to lift the plastic up to be able to access the nuts on top here, I've left one in, so I've taken the rear one and the front one out. I've left the one closest to me in, just for safety. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take out the bolts at the bottom, but be careful when you take out the bolts at the bottom. Reason being is because the axle might drop. So what I've done is I've put a jack underneath here to give me a bit of support. So when I take out the shock absorber, there's no chance of the axle falling completely. And as well, the reason leaving the top nut in is so when I take it out at the bottom, it doesn't fall completely as well. So just a bit more control over your work environment. There we go. And that's it, and she's out. So this is the tricky part that we're gonna just show you how to, if you're working alone, it's a bit tricky. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna show you a little technique to put this in the correct position if you're working alone. So this shock absorber has a side, it'll show you over there, has a right hand side on the code, and it's going to be facing outwards, obviously. So this is your first point where you want to put it in your bolt. Always make sure the eye is facing the correct position. So in saying so, working alone is a little bit awkward. So what you're going to do is you're going to kind of put it in position, and then you're going to use the big bolt and just temporarily while we let's fix it up later. That for now, and let's go ahead and put all the. All right, so in this position, it's not very recommended. It's not recommended at all because the spout for the hose of the reservoir is sticking out too much. So this could possibly, almost likely, touch the tire at the rear. Recommended, which we will show you later on now in the video, is that this piece here will be facing towards the back here, and then the hose coming out and the reservoir sitting like this. So it'll give you a bit more length on the reservoir hose and a better position for this, which is more safer for the shock absorber. So this is the correct position, so it's facing the back, so it's nice and protected by the chassis over here, so nothing will really damage it or anything of that such. So now we're going to mount the base of the reservoir. Just a quick presentation of it. So that's how we're going to put it, like that. So you're going to put your hose clamps over here and over here through there, but no problem. So you're going to use these two holes that are already supplied in the chassis to mount this. So very easy installation, very straightforward, and it's going to go there. Once that's in, you're going to put the reservoir in, and you're going to run the cable a little bit around, and you're going to put a P-clamp over here to hold that cable, that pipe from not hitting the tire or wiggling around too much. But let's quickly install this, and we'll jump to that part now. All right. All right, so now we're going to install our trailing arms, but the upper trailing arms, because our customer already has the lower trailing arms on this vehicle. So this is a bit of a challenge. It's a wonderful challenge. So we need to, for only the right side here because of the tank, we need to move the tank over just a little bit in order to get, there is a bolt on the inside here that needs to come out in order for us to So once you have loosened that one, that's your first bolt, that's your first nut you're going to loosen. So now we're going to put a support underneath the gas tank over here. My jack doesn't really permit it, but just use a sheet metal here just to spread the load. We're going to loosen up the belt here, the support for the tank, and see what happens. Right, so now that we've got the gas tank at a position where we were able to get the very easy bolt out, we were able to get the bolt out. We took out the trailing arm. Just a quick tip for taking out the gas tank, it's probably better to do it with 2 people. Reason being, it's just, you know, it's just very long and awkward. You don't want to damage any wiring, or you don't want to damage any pipes. So it's just easier with 2 people that can help you wherever you need to. Another tip is I took out the main main fuel line, this one where you put in the gas. So it just helps lower it a little bit. So I just took that out. This line over here I didn't take out because this one is flexible enough to get it down. And there's a small little clip in the front here on the left hand side. Oh, my head. On the left hand side here, there you just took it out, so it just helps to get it down. And then you should be able to get it down enough to take out that bolt and then release the lower control trailing arm there. So yes, just a quick tip for this as well. So how we'd normally adjust this, so please make sure that it's the correct form, the correct side as well, because if it's not the correct side, it's going to probably touch the gas tank and then you'll have to repeat the process taking it out. So just make sure all that is nice and neat and tucked away in the correct way. So how we do it is we line everything up in the same position. Because this car is a little bit of a larger lift to the original, reason being changing the trailing arm. So we're gonna have the original size and then just adjust it a little bit more. I would say about 2 to 3 mils, and then adjust it accordingly on the car itself, which is very nice that you can do with this trailing arm. And yeah, we'll go ahead and install that now. And the other side should be fairly easy. I mean, it's just the 2 bolts, but this side was the fun part. But yeah, cool, man. Right guys, so we've finished with our Dobinson installation on the right side. Basically it's the same for the left side. We're going to show you a quick tip for the left side because there's something with the steering shaft that we need to show you, but basically it's the same thing. Just a quick recap of everything that we did. So we changed the old shock absorber, we put the new one in. The customer requested that we set this seat to accessory low, meaning it's a bit heavier for the bumper we have on the front here. As well, we changed the upper control arm from the older one to a new one. So as well, use the original ball joint from the Bronco. So all it is a clip on the inside. You take the clip out and you push it down with the tools that were supplied in the box, and then you put the new one in with the tools supplied in the box. Very quick, very simple. Please, another tip, don't tighten this in the air. It's very important that you tighten it on the ground when the car is at its settled height, at its weighted height. Yes, also the sway bar, just make sure once you've finished installing everything, install this bad boy back in there. I'm going to do the other side now as well. And yes, we're going to set the reservoir to its recommended. So the recommended psi. For this reservoir is 120 psi, in that range, and then adjust the high speed, low speed, and the rebound as we need to for our comfort on the road. Make sure everything's tight with some Loctite. We tighten the screw cap down to the recommended torque pound, to the recommended torque measure, sorry. And what else? Yeah, that's basically it. Very quick, very easy on that side. Going to the back now. Again, installed this bad boy. Very happy with the seating, the position. Make sure this is sitting at the back so that it is protected from the tire, from any rocks that kick up while off-roading, anything like that. The base does come with another bracket over here for the P-clamp, so you can put the P-clamp with the hose there. Everything's nice and tight, so as well able to adjust it, easily accessed from just any point of view. We've installed the lower trailing arm, the upper trailing arm. Always keep in mind when installing the upper trailing arm, easier with two people. To lower the gas tank, you need to take out the gas tank, otherwise you won't get the bolt out. It's unfortunate that Ford did it that way, but it's just the way it is. It's also for safety, I guess. As well, again, make sure don't break any lines, don't break any wires. Always be careful. Have the support, have the jack underneath the gas tank, because it's very important that you support that well so it doesn't fall. Make sure it's tight, everything's tightened up nicely when you've completed that. I would personally recommend, so while the tank is down, you install this side and you tighten this side completely, and then reinstall the gas tank, and then tighten everything. And then, yeah, going back to the shock absorber, make sure the spacers are put in nicely at the bottom here, over there. Make sure that we tighten everything on top here, put all the plastic back, but yes, otherwise, yeah, it was a great installation. I really enjoyed it. I hope to see you on the next one. Thanks, guys. Keegan from Dobinsons, Latin America.
Bueno, chicos, ya finalmente terminamos de armar la camioneta. Hicimos algunas pruebas en la caída de la suspensión. Ahora simplemente vamos a salir a rodar a ver qué tal.